host is my son Elijah. If you didn't check out the previous video that we did with Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt, please check it out. And don't forget to skip to the end for the reactions because that's where the real conversations begin. We have great content. Don't be fooled by the title, but check out what the conversations are about. There's no other YouTuber or content creator that's bringing you raw, authentic, real conversation like we do here on Speak the Truth 2.0. So anyway, don't forget to hit the like, share, subscribe, and think about becoming a special friend and Speak the Truth. Show some support by joining the membership. We do have another um, channel called Pray to All Here. Go to that channel, subscribe. It's a newer channel, and a lot of times who I'm gonna put on there is Pastor Philip Anthony Mitchell. He's a man of God. He's a phenomenal pastor. So I am going to be highlighting him a lot on that channel. It's so hard to find a pastor, a real man of God, someone that's honoring God, his wife, his family, his church. And I searched high and low. I love the Lord. I have heard just about every pastor that's been out here. I've been to their conference. We're a church going family, and it's hard to find a true man of God. So if you're looking for a pastor, he could be your digital pastor. Go to Pray to All Here, and I will be uploading a lot of his content, and maybe we're going to start daily prayer. And however God leads me, how I'm going to do the channel, because everybody needs prayer, because you can't do it without God. So anyway, we're waiting. We're looking forward to what President Trump is announcing. And whether you agree with him or not, you should be listening to what the president has to say. He is the leader of this nation. He's a world leader, and we need to keep up with what's going on, and so that we can be informed, and then you can have a opinion. So you can say, well, he said this, but this is, you can compare facts. You can compare to what's really happening in real time. And I thank God that it's more than social media. I mean, we have social media right now. My son's distracting me, sorry. We have social media right now that you don't have to depend on mainstream media. You can find the news for yourself. You could go to Ground News, which I use because they look at the right and they look at the left. They're non-biased. Or you could go to wherever content creator that that you want to hear. Maybe they're more in line to some of your point of views. And there are so many resources. We got Chat GPT, you got Google, you got so many ways that you can find out information for yourself. So utilize these tools that we have. So anyway, I wanted to jump on here a little early because we don't want to miss any of this. I think it's breaking news, and I hope it's great news. I hope it's going to make a difference in the world, not just for the kids here in the United States, because Trump said that 1 out of every 10 or 12 boys are being born with autism. He said it went from every 1 in every 20,000 just maybe 10 years ago to now is 1 in every 10 or 12 boys and 1 in every 20 girls. So that's a lot. So something is going on, perhaps during the pregnancy. This is what they feel. And we don't know, I guess they're going to explain what's going on. He's going to have Robert Kennedy and Dr. Oz, and probably I don't know who else is going to be on there. But it's becoming a major issue. I mean, 1 out of every 10 child is now being born with autism. So if they found the cure, if they found out what's actually going on, that's a plus for all society. Could you imagine the teachers now for the next generation, that many children are being born with autism? So if they have a way that they can stop it or reduce the numbers or go back to the old numbers or even help with the children, who knows? Maybe they have a cure for the kids that have been born with it, So we're going to find out a lot with this news conference. And he said yesterday when he was at Charlie Kirk's funeral, he said that he thinks this is going to be one of the biggest announcements throughout his whole administration that he will ever make, is this breakthrough in autism. So we're going to find out. And you guys don't forget to look at the previous video and look at the content. You know, after the press secretary, after she speaks and after she finished her briefing, go to the content, because one thing we are is authentic, is not scripted. People have scripts, they have teleprompters, they have cue cards. There's no cue cards here. There's no editing. What you see is what you get. You know, so you can't get any more real than that. We do not perform for people. So,
And
you
some
know, thanks for
people,
joining us. You can
and
come
some
on.
people don't mean what they say. They just do it for the money.
Yeah, go ahead, tell them.
Yeah.
Yeah, speak to him
Yeah.
while we have time before he comes on.
Yeah. Some people are. They don't believe or mean anything they're saying. They're just doing it for like the money. And like us, we come on here. We're not doing this for a dollar bill or for fame. We're doing this just to speak the truth and spread, the truth out here. Oh, what's up, Mr. Busky? Yeah, so it's about to start.
Yeah, so yeah, that's what, and Elijah, what we're going to do, because I'm going to bring on Birch Gold, Mr. Phillips from Birch Gold. We're going to have him on. So what I was going to do with you, Elijah, I forgot to bring you on as a guest, because I have never tested bringing someone on as a guest. So I want to give him a date and time when he's available and when we're available, that he can come on and he can share about investing in gold. And this is something that I had a wonderful conversation with him, and I was so enlightened. And I felt like instead of me getting all this information, this would be something great for my subscribers and the hundreds of thousands of people that watch us per month. I think we have millions of people per month that actually watch this channel. And you guys can benefit from it as well. So, you know how people be like this doing things just for themselves. I'm about helping everyone. Everyone can do well, help others. So hopefully the information that he's going to share with my subscribers and with the people who view this channel. Think about becoming a subscriber if you're not, and don't forget to hit the like buttons so we can go out to the algorithm. That hopefully he will bring some wealth into your home. So the dollar bill is declining, and the countries like Russia, India, China, and them, they're buying gold to reduce the value of the dollar. Everybody's buying the gold and the silver. So that's a great investment, because we know the dollar is declining, and this is what they're doing. They're trying to take away the value of the dollar. So we need to invest in gold as well, because our money will go a lot further, and it's more sustainable than the dollar bill at this point. Or the little savings account, they're not giving us much interest and all of that. So you'll make out better with gold that you can keep yourself, or they will store it for you. However you want to do it is available. So we're going to bring on Mr. Phillips. He's phenomenal. You're going to enjoy him. He's been on, I think Steve Bannon had him on his show. He might have been on Ben Shapiro. Different people he's been on, and he's a lovely gentleman, and he's going to be on our show as well. So that's to come. So I am going to be inviting people to come on, besides politics and besides whether you're red, blue, or purple, that this is something that'll benefit all of us. So we're just waiting right now. I hope everyone is doing well. And I think like Trump, he's going to do a press conference tomorrow as well. I think he's going to be with the United Nations tomorrow. He has another guest that's coming in. And there's a lot going on around the world. That's for sure. How was school today? It was great, huh?
Yeah, it was great. It's great.
Yeah, he's working on his degree. So already got 2 degrees. He's like got to get his degree.
Yeah, got a lot to catch up.
A lot to catch up with. Everybody in his family got degrees, so he has a lot to catch up with. If I ever get my daughter on here, y'all would see a whole different my daughter. Y'all see how I am. Y'all have no idea how my daughter is. She is totally into politics and stuff, and she's in leadership big time. So, but right now we're on different sides, so that's how that goes. But we'll come together. Yeah, so we're just waiting. Like they said, 4:00. And I try to be, come on when I believe that they're going to actually start the live. So, but I do want to get to talk to you guys, have a chance for people to log on and for Jesus Christ is Lord. Yeah, God
Oh,
bless all you guys. Christ
oh,
is King and Jesus is Lord.
welcome back, BDA. They said they was here last night. Hope everyone here is having a blessed day.
Oh, you too.
Yeah, you
Thank
too.
you. God is good. That's a beautiful way to start any day. Like people say they want joy, peace, and happiness, but you have to pursue it. You have to live it. It's not just going to happen. You want to have a great day? God said, "This is the day that He has made, and we shall rejoice and be glad in it." You have to intentionally have a great day. Intentionally have joy. You can't rely on people to make you happy. You got to be happy who you are. And I think the happiest you can be is when you do things for other people other than yourself. Like this, I'm giving of myself. This is giving back to others, trying to enrich people, encourage people, and just to be real. Whether we agree or not, one thing you will never be able to say that I am not authentic, that I am not real. And that's extremely important to me is to be myself. And because so many people fake it to make it and all of that, but that's not here. So and we welcome everyone that wants to join in, and we appreciate conversation because I believe the only way we're going to have resolution is if we talk about it. And I like people that's on here, they don't agree. I don't want everybody agreeing. I want people to be able to talk it out and give their viewpoints in a clear, concise manner that they can be on one accord. You don't always have to be angry and upset because people don't agree with you, because no one agrees with you. No one agrees 100% with anyone, and those are facts.
Got two comments. Tony said, "When you going to have Jesus as a guest?" He's with us all the time.
I'm a representation of
Yeah.
Jesus. He said, "When you see us, we're supposed to be a representation of Jesus."
Children of God.
He said, "Let your light shine before men, that they may see your good works and glorify your Father in heaven." So I'm supposed to be a light.
Yeah, but this world needs more Jesus.
Yeah, we got to be lights in the world.
I don't know how to pronounce his name, but one of the comments says it was racist people in here last night.
Yeah, we need more moderators. I know that we have to get more moderators. So we can't, like, when we in the chat, what y'all don't see is that, like, the last live I just did like an hour ago, we had almost 4,000 people in the chat. We can't see the comments. The only time I see a comment is when you guys super chat us. Super chat us, support the channel. Then we can read it, we can see it. But when people are, all over the place, we can't.
Yeah, I've gotten a lot of crazy comments.
Yeah, we can't,
Yeah.
see all the comments. And some people you don't want to give all that energy to.
Yeah.
That just emboldens them, giving them all that energy and all that attention.
That's what they want.
So, and if they don't like what's being said, there are plenty of channels that will say what you want to hear. Then go to those channels if you just wanted people to agree with you or say what you want to hear. But on this channel, we follow Jesus. We are not, like I said, people, I am not beholden to any man. Men are fallible. They're not perfect. I'm not beholden to any man. I'm beholden to God.
Okay, someone's spamming.
Yeah, I see them. They put 57.
I need to keep them or delete the comments.
Why they say? Oh, yeah. Like if you have something to say, it's fine. Is that a woman or a guy?
I think it's a guy, Austin.
Oh, that's a guy's name. Okay.
Yeah, let's not spam
Yeah,
the chat.
don't spam, because the only thing we're gonna do is either just delete it or boot you out. Everybody saw what you're saying because we don't have all the people on right now, so people see what you're saying. But that's enough, because we'll just end it. So just let it go. Let it go. What they said, that was let it go. Frozen. Let it go. So just like I said, like there's so many people that will say what you want to hear. Go to their channels. Here, we're not going to just say everything that you might be pleasing to your ears, because we don't, that's not what we're about. We're going to be real. We got to answer to God, and we're not going to sell our souls to you guys so for you to like us, because I don't care. I care what God thinks of me. And that's what's important. And I think is whether you agree with someone or not, it's better to have someone that at least is real, that's not fake, that's authentic, that's not scripted, that's not using a teleprompter, that's not trying to say what you want to hear so that they can get paid, because we don't make anything off of this channel. So the way that we're doing it is not an income making channel for us. This is our time and energy and our effort. This is all being done for you guys because it's from the heart. This is something that we are called to do. So that's a difference. Yeah, this channel, I'm surprised they didn't come on yet. So they should be on any minute because they already, they had said that this was going to start at 4:20, at 4 o'clock, and it's 4:22. So a lot of times when that goes on, I guess they're still going over last minute notes or last minute preparations. But I expect them to pop on any minute now because it's 22 minutes behind the scheduled time for them to have gone live. It's always about Jesus, but the what this is about today is about that Trump has a big announcement about autism. He's saying that they believe they discovered a cure for autism. They believe they found out that there's a link between you mothers, I guess, when they're pregnant, using Tylenol at time of pregnancy is causing autism in children. And they're saying, I'm repeating what I said earlier just in case you weren't on, that it like 1 in every 10 to 12 boys are being born with autism, and every um 20 girls, 1 in 20 girls are being born with autism. So that's a extremely high rate, extremely high. So if you have a class of say 40, that you got 4 people in there that have autism, if they're boys, if it's a boy, all boy class, that's a lot. That's a lot. And if girls, if it's a class of 40, it's 2 girls in there that have autism. That's the numbers are staggering. So it went from like 1 in 20,000 to 1 in 10 and 1 in 20. So we really need a breakthrough for our children. All these dyes and all these chemicals that are in foods, and pregnant mothers are exposed more and more. They really, organic foods are expensive, but that's really what they need because you got pesticides, you got all this stuff that's inside of our foods, and all these man-made foods and processed foods, and they put cement, they put everything inside of foods and vitamins, everything, like the things that we're consuming, our body is not able to even digest like it's supposed to. So hopefully this news is going to be something they can implement. That is not something that they say 10 years from now, they'll be able to, make a difference. Hopefully it won't be something like that, that this is something that they will be able to do immediately, that this will be immediately, that they will be able to take action as far as fighting, the autism for, that's happening to our children. So that would be great because sometimes they come on and they say we have a cure, but it's still under study. It's not going to be available to the public for another 3 years. So hopefully it's not nothing like that. This is something that we can have immediate action for mothers now in today's time. And so that's what we're hoping for. That's what we're hoping for. So, and I'm hoping, I don't know what's going on. They really are running late, but I'm expecting them to come on the screen because I could have shown y'all some other stuff that I wanted to talk about, or he did a press goggle like on his Air Force One and he did some other like few little videos that we could have shown, but I thought that they would have been on a little sooner. Oh, you loved my videos? Thank you so much. God bless you. Tell people about Speak the Truth 2.0 and tell them to, like, I know the headings, like a lot say Trump, but we have discussions afterwards. And that's the best part, are the reactions. And I think people don't understand, like when we do upload them, the videos, that they, and we stream it, that they think that's all that there is. But the best part, I haven't been trying to get my son to take out the chat and the conversations, and you guys leave us some comments too that we can respond to, go to, because like I said, when we have so many people in the chat, we can't read all of them unless you like super chat us, or if you leave comments after the video has uploaded, then we can see, we can respond to it. But other than that, we can't do it. So that would be great. But I'm glad that there are people that do enjoy what we bring to the table. So this channel is for you. It's for you, and we don't expect you always to agree with us neither. And that's how it is. But the majority of the stuff, we in there. We in there. And we like hearing from you guys, but I wanted to move the channel that we get to the point that, like, I'm still learning. This is new. We only had this channel now for, well, I started uploading like for 1 year now, and we have almost 33,000, I think, subscribers. And that's why I'm telling people now, turn the notification bell, so when we do upload or we put videos out, that you guys will be notified and you'll be able to find us. But so we come a long way in like 1 year. We covered a lot. We're approaching like 15 million viewers. 15 million in like 1 year. So that's a lot. But we do want to start having guests on. People have been asking to come on. We do want to have people on, but I have to learn how to do it because I wanted to test it with my son to have him on so I can see how it works. So I want to bring on Birch Gold, um, um, Mr. Phillip from Birch Gold, for him to come on and speak to my subscribers and just educate you guys about investing in gold and silver. I think it's really important right now to invest, like everybody invests in the stocks, which I do, all of it, but you need to invest in gold and silver as well. Have your money, don't have just one resources. Like, you want to spread your money out, like stocks here, gold here, CDs here, mutual funds here. Have your money, like, you got different go-tos, that it's not just in one bucket. Because sometimes, like the stock market, like when it crashes, people lose everything. They only have their money in one bucket. Spread it around, so something happened here, you have this bucket of money. So that's what the goal would be. You don't have to worry about gold crashing. Elijah, hit the thing. Go on there, please. Yeah, they're taking a long time because it's almost 4:30. Can you go in there with the hearts on? Yeah, so I'm glad I didn't come on any earlier. If I had known this, I could have put up some other things, but as soon as I would have gotten started, they probably would have came on. And I like to start at the very beginning of the news conference, and this one is so important, so we don't want to miss anything, huh?
Oh, Endor said hi.
Oh, hi, Endor.
Yeah, hi, Endor.
I told you I can't see you from here. Hi, everyone. Hi. Thanks for joining us. Speak the Truth 2.0. Y'all could call me The Truth, and y'all call me Miss Truth. What do you want to call it? Elijah's Corner. Elijah's going to do Elijah's Corner. He's going to talk to other young people like his age. So I was going to do that today, like kind of branch off and let him, talk to his peers about politics and all that. And he has some of his college friends or whatever come on and do, have the conversations. That would be really nice. So that's what we're going to do with Elijah, have Elijah's Corner. And I might do something that people are funny, even though sometimes people are so mean. But sometimes people, they are funny. The internet is funny. I think they better comedians than some of these so-called comedians. Just have, be pulling jokes just to make people laugh, because laughter is medicine. That we're not always so serious about everything and uptight about everything. That you have time to relax, and breathe. Relax and breathe.
If I ever need a good laugh, just watch Chris Tucker.
Chris Tucker is hilarious. Watch Chris Tucker and Jackie Chan. Somebody gonna do another Rush Hour. That split. Out of all the comedians, that's like, I could go back and watch that movie, and that's an older movie. But Chris Tucker and Jackie Chan are hilarious together. They are freaking funny. They're funny. They are funny, funny. So if you want a good laugh, go back and watch Rush Hour. What is it? Rush Hour
Yeah,
three,
Rush
two,
Hour.
one. It's three Rush Hours, but they are amazing together. You know, Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker. They so funny because Chris Tucker be talking about do it like this, and he be like, well, he be dancing like Michael Jackson. Come on, move your hips. He be so funny. He is so funny.
Yeah.
Jackie Chan is just a master in
He was
karate.
dancing.
Yeah, they are funny. He was singing the Beach Boy. He talked with the Beach Boy and for a second, you don't put no Beach Boys on and man and Black Man's Gone and all this, but he is so funny. They are funny.
They gotta make another one.
They have to make another one. They said they haven't gotten the script. This is taking a long time. You're not hitting those hearts for me like I need you to. So you can talk. I don't know. Yeah, so I guess they're still getting it together. The White House. And I know as soon as I go on to something else, they're going to come on. So I'm just going to just exercise patience and just, wait for them to come on. So I don't know, maybe they're going to have more people than just Dr. Oz and Robert Kennedy. Maybe they're going to have some of the doctors or the scientists who made the discoveries, because I don't think it was Robert Kennedy that made the discoveries. Maybe they're going to have
Dr. Oz.
well, Dr. Oz, I don't know how much he had to do with it, but maybe they're going to have some of the actual scientists that some of the actual scientists that have found that have made the discoveries that they will join in this news conference. The people that actually made the discoveries and like what college was it? Like where who made the discoveries?
You see what Slade B said?
No.
Well, I heard from reports that what they're going to be talking about is autism can come from Tylenol.
Yeah, that's what I said earlier. They said Tylenol. Yeah. And everyone used Tylenol because like the other medications, like aspirin, they say could cause bleeding or so Tylenol has been given to all of us. Yeah. You go get Tylenol for headaches, whatever. Tylenol for toothache, Tylenol. Yeah. So everyone takes Tylenol, but Tylenol business is going to take a big hit if they link it to Tylenol because people are going to stop buying it out of fear. Even people that's not having babies or whatever, people will stop buying it. So that company is going to take a big hit if they say that it's Tylenol.
Yeah, Slade B said they also recommend Tylenol after a newborn baby is vaccinated for fever or pain.
Oh yeah, they have the baby and children's Tylenol. You're right. That's probably what's happening. Giving it to when they're giving it to I didn't even think about that. So when you're giving it to the babies, I'm thinking it's in the womb. So that's right. After the children's born, all the medications and stuff, they always say give the baby Tylenol for the fevers, for So so the kids aren't born with autism, and autism is happening. They might see from giving the babies Tylenol. Wow. That's going to be really huge. Yeah, that your baby was healthy and fine. Nothing was wrong with your child. And because you gave the baby Tylenol, because the doctor said give the baby Tylenol because the baby had an ear infection or the baby had a fever, that's really going to be, wow. Hopefully that's not the case. Yeah. Hopefully, because you know how many parents are going to feel guilty because they're going to remember, like, I gave my child Tylenol. I gave all my children Tylenol coming up. And that's the go-to because you was always told that Tylenol was the safest thing that you could give to your children and to your babies was to give them Tylenol. So that's going to be disturbing.
Then it's like, what's the alternative if you can't?
Yeah, what is going to be the alternative? Yeah, everybody's waiting. I don't know what they're doing right now. But yeah, what are you going, if you don't give your children Tylenol, then what are you going to give your kids when they have a fever? What are you going to give? Robitussin? I mean, is that still, are there side effects with that? Like there's other medications, but Tylenol was supposed to be the safest. So what are parents going to give their children other than Tylenol? Because the studies are being done on Tylenol. Are they being done on the other medications given to babies? That's terrible. That's why so many kids now. Yeah. It went from 1 in 20,000 with autism to 1 in every 10 because a lot of babies wind up with some sort of infection, some sort of cold, or even pneumonia, all kinds of things that your children get. You know, the immune system is not as strong as a baby, and you're giving them Tylenol. So that can explain it, because as that child's a baby, you're going to wind up giving your baby something for a cold or for congestion or something along the way. So that would explain why so many that have autism, if they, because that was probably the most common thing was that was being given to children, that they knew they could really pinpoint, that a lot of the studies are probably showing that all these parents have given their children Tylenol
Yeah.
after birth, or taking Tylenol while carrying the child. So that's incredible
Yeah,
to
and
just,
Trump.
huh?
Yeah, and Trump said that this is going to be really big. Like
He
he
said this
was.
is going to be like one of the biggest announcements that he's ever probably going to make throughout his
Wow.
presidency. This announcement today, he did say a little bit of it, but he didn't go in detail. So I guess he's going to save. He wanted to save most of it for today, but he gave us hints about it yesterday. So,
Uh-huh.
and you guys
Well,
don't
we'll
forget to
see.
go watch the previous video with Press Secretary Caroline. Leave it and just go. And then if you have already watched that part, go ahead and skip to the reaction where the conversation begins. And when we react to the videos, that's where I think that's the most juiciest part of the videos, is when you go to the conversations and what we are reacting to and talking about and communicating to the American people and around the world.
You want to tell them about the
Right.
shorts so we get like a glimpse of the video?
Yeah, we got some shorts now that YouTube is putting up shorts on the video, because I guess they said, well, she doesn't do anything. They're taking and clipping some of the videos for me because I don't do anything. And they're putting some of the clips up, but to get the full conversation, you have to go to the video. So they took out a clip of the press secretary conference that she just did, the press briefing. They did a clip of my video, and that's what's up now. I think it's a minute and 10 seconds. So go check out the clip. If you want to hear the video in entirety, then go to the press secretary video. And we do have to edit it because the beginning has no sound up to the first 4 minutes. So we're going to edit that out, but I haven't had a chance to, because we had to jump right back on. But you can just skip to the 4 minute 55 second mark, and or you could skip to the content if you have not already listened to the press conference. So yeah, people told me after it was 4 minutes in, there was no sound, and people were just, I guess they were just, I don't know, they were just watching me, I guess. And then someone finally said no sound, and now we went to check. Well, someone already went to the video, and they said no sound as well. And then I saw, okay, there was no sound up to the first 4 minutes and 55 seconds. But go check out the video. There is sound, but you have to skip until I'm able to make that correction. You have to skip to 4 minutes and 55 seconds. And then if you want to, you could go straight to the content, the reaction content that's inside the video. Wow, it's like really, it's like 40 minutes later than the time that it was scheduled.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's 4:40. They said 4 o'clock, and I thought there was gonna be a little bit more truer to time. And he is going to. We will be streaming tomorrow and the following day as well. I probably will put the time up later on, because I think that he's going to the UN tomorrow. I'm not sure. I got to look at the schedule, but we will be streaming tomorrow and the following day, because he got a lot going on this week, along with uploading other videos other than the president that we never have a chance to get to, that we talk about in the content. So this takes up a lot of time, because the reason why I show the president, because I've never done it before. I never followed a president of the United States, and I never listened. You know, you vote them and put them in office, but then you're not listening to what they're saying, because we're busy with life. So now I see how important it is to listen to our elected officials, our leaders, from the president on down. And this way you can have a point of view, and then you can check out the facts of what they're saying. instead of say, okay, they're in office and then we don't pay attention any longer because we're busy picking our kids up from school. We're working these jobs. We got these harassing bosses. We got these crazy coworkers. So much is going on with life, that we don't pay attention to what they are talking about. And right now, it's like they're more interested in fighting each other than serving us, the people that elected them into office. Like right now, it's tick for tack that's going on. You did this to me, and I'm gonna do this back to you. But the only people that are suffering are the American people, because we need them to be focused on that. You guys are supposed to represent all of us. You're supposed to serve all of us. Like I was saying in the last video, like I voted for a Republican this election, but I have a Democratic congressman. But that doesn't mean that he doesn't look at my concerns as well. That you have people in the communities that voted Republican and Democrat. So they're supposed to serve all of us, including the President of the United States. You got to stop talking about that left and right when you're the president of all Americans. Yeah.
Frank said, he's telling people to like and subscribe to, which is really nice, but he said, keep on keeping on. God bless you for your content. Have a great day and later. Thanks for spreading the word.
Thank you so much. That's so encouraging, and I appreciate it so much. It means a lot. It's hard to stand 10 toes down because you get people that like you and then you say stuff that they don't like, or they're not talking how they work. No, we always say we don't agree with anyone 100%, and neither do you. So don't expect it of us.
Want to make him a mod?
You can.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's important to have some kind of integrity and character, to stand on something and just be about doing what's right. That's my whole objective, is just to do what's right in God's eyesight. That's it.
And Sister Tiffany said you voted for a Republican president?
I voted for a Republican president. Yes, I did. And the reason I voted for a Republican president, because the Democratic Party have gotten away from my Christian values. God is not in abortion. God is not in same-sex marriage. The Democratic Party became the party of an LGBTQ. There was no LGBTQ until President Obama. That was his mission. Then they became a transgender with Biden party, taking even children. It's one thing that you're an adult. As an adult, you could do whatever you want to do. But when you're going after children that haven't even been through puberty, and you're going to take and you're going to make those children deform and tell them that how God created them was wrong. They're not even old enough to drive, and we're cutting off their body parts. We're giving them blockers. We're doing all kinds of things to their bodies that's going to cause them a lifetime of medical issues and mental issues and emotional issues. That's the part that I'm not down with. And then the candidates were unfit. I wasn't going to vote for a tampon Tim that felt as though they need to put tampons in a men's bathroom. I wasn't going to vote for a vice president that they had hidden for almost 4 years. They kept her from speaking 2 months of her running for president. She was not even elected by the people in the primary to run for president. She was chosen for us, and they were talking about democracy. And then she only could speak in word salads and with a script or a teleprompter. And she didn't do that well. How are you going to be a world leader and not be able to speak without a teleprompter? And then to make matters worse is that the other nations respect power. Those men not going to respect a weak woman. And we had open borders at the time, and they allowed all these homeless non-citizens to enter this country while we left on the streets our American citizens and our vets. But we're going to open the borders, and we were taking care of MS-13, Trinidad Raga, terrorists, 11,000 convicted murderers, 13,000 convicted rapists, ISIS. 2 million got us way. Our taxpayer dollars was taking care of everyone. 54 Chinese nationalists, all these threats that we allowed to come into this country, but we still aren't taking care of our own. They are still on the street and treated like trash. But we could take illegal immigrants and put them in luxury apartments. That's the part. We're supposed to help others, but we're not still not helping our own. We're using taxpayer dollars to take care of other people's children when our children are hungry. Our children can't even get the right books for schools, especially the black community. No one is smarter than anyone else. It's about how many, what's available to you, the tools you have. So there's not an equal playing field here. We're going to do all this for everyone else except for our own. So it's starting. Here we go, you guys.
Thank you very much. So I've been waiting for this meeting for 20 years, actually.
Wow.
And it's not that everything's 100% understood or known, but I think we've made a lot of strides. Wish it was done a long time ago. Today we're delighted to be joined by America's top medical and public health professionals as we announce historic steps to confront the crisis of autism. Horrible, horrible crisis. I want to thank the man who brought this issue to the forefront of American politics along with me. And we actually met in my office, is it like 20 years ago, Bobby? It's probably 20 years ago in New York. I was a developer, as you probably heard, and I always had very strong feelings about autism and how it happened and where it came from. And he and I don't know, the word got out, and I wouldn't say that people were very understanding of where we were, but it's turning out that we understood a lot more than a lot of people who studied it, we think. And I say we think because I don't think they were really letting the public know what they knew. Thanks as well to the director of the National Institute of Health, Dr. Jay Bhattacharya, FDA Commissioner Dr. Marty McCary. These are great people. Administrator of the Centers for Medicine and Medicaid Services, Dr. Mehmet Oz, and Acting Assistant Secretary of HHS, Dr. Dorothy Fink. So thank you all. Thank you, Dorothy, very much. The meteoric rise in autism is among the most alarming public health developments in history. There's never been anything like this. Just a few decades ago, 1 in 10,000 children had autism. So that's not a long time. And I've always heard, they say a few, but I think it's a lot less time than that. It used to be 1 in 20,000, then 1 in 10,000. And I would say that's probably 18 years ago. And now it's 1 in 31, but in some areas it's much worse than that, if you can believe it, 1 in 31. And I gave numbers yesterday. For boys, it's 1 in 12. I was told that's in California where they have for some reason, a more severe problem. But whether it's 1 in 12 or 1 in 31, can you imagine? That's down from 1 in 20,000 and 1 in 10,000. And now we're at the level of 1 in 12 in some cases for boys. 1 in 31 overall. So since 2000, autism rates have surged by much more than 400%. Instead of attacking those who ask questions, everyone should be grateful for those who are trying to get the answers to this complex situation. And the first day all of these great doctors behind me were there, I told them this is what we have to find out. Because when you go from 20,000 to 10,000, and then you go to 12, there's something artificial. They're taking something. And by the way, I think I can say that there are certain groups of people that don't take vaccines and don't take any pills that have no autism. That have no autism. Does that tell you something? That's currently, is that a correct statement, by the way?
There are some studies that suggest that, with the Amish, for example.
The Amish, yeah, virtually. I heard none. See, Bobby wants to be very careful with what he says, and he should, but I'm not so careful with what I say. But you have certain groups. The Amish, as an example, they have essentially no autism. First, effective immediately, the FDA will be notifying physicians that the use of let's see how we say that. Acetaminophen Is that okay? Which is basically commonly known as Tylenol during pregnancy, can be associated with a very increased risk of autism. So taking Tylenol
Yes.
is not good. All right, I'll say it. It's not good. For this reason, they are strongly recommending that women limit Tylenol use during pregnancy unless medically necessary. That's, for instance, in cases of extremely high fever, that you feel you can't tough it out, you can't do it. I guess there's that. It's a small number of cases, I think. But if you can't tough it out, if you can't do it, that's what you're gonna have to do. You'll take a Tylenol, but it'll be very sparingly. It can be something that's very dangerous to the woman's health. In other words, a fever that's very, very dangerous, and ideally a doctor's decision, because I think you shouldn't take it. And you shouldn't take it during the entire pregnancy. They may tell you that toward the end of the pregnancy, you shouldn't take it during the entire, and you shouldn't give the child the Tylenol every time he's born and he goes and has a shot. You shouldn't give a Tylenol to that child. All pregnant women should talk to their doctors for more information about limiting the use of this medication while pregnant. So ideally you don't take it at all, but if you can't tough it out, if there's a problem, you're gonna end up doing it. The other thing that I can tell you that I'll say that they will maybe say at a little bit later date, but I think when you go for the shot, you do it over a 5-time period. Take it over 5 times or 4 times, but you take it in smaller doses and you spread it out over a period of years. And they pump so much stuff into those beautiful little babies, it's a disgrace. I don't see it. I think it's very bad. They're pumping, it looks like they're pumping into a horse. You have a little child, a little fragile child, and you get a vat of 80 different vaccines, I guess, 80 different blends, and they pump it in. So ideally, a woman won't take Tylenol. And on the vaccines, it would be good, instead of one visit where they pump the baby loaded up with stuff, you'll do it over a period of 4 times or 5 times. I've been so into this issue for so many years, just because I couldn't understand how a thing like this could happen. And it's artificially induced. It's not like something that, when you go from all of those, healthy babies to a point where I don't even know structurally if a country can afford it, and that's the least of the problems. To have families destroyed over this is just so terrible. I also, and we've already done this, we want no mercury in the vaccine. We want no aluminum in the vaccine. The MMR, I think, should be taken separately. This is based on what I feel the mumps, measles, and the 3 should be taken separately. And it seems to be that when you mix them, there could be a problem. So there's no downside in taking them separately. In fact, they think it's better, so let it be separate. The chicken pox is already separate, because when that got mixed in, I guess they made it 4 for a while, it really was bad. So they make chicken pox. Individually, they're okay. When you mix them, something maybe happens. So there's no downside in doing it. It's not like, oh, if you do it, bad things. No, it's only good side. And it may not have that much of an impact, but it may have a big impact. So let those be taken separately. And then hepatitis B is sexually transmitted. There's no reason to give a baby that's almost just born hepatitis B. So I would say wait till the baby is 12 years old and formed and take hepatitis B. And I think if you do those things, it's going to be a whole different, it's going to be a revolution in a positive sense in the country. The FDA will be updating the label of an existing drug to reflect potential benefits in reducing some autism symptoms. This gives hope to the many parents with autistic children that it may be possible to improve their lives. That's one of the things that I'm very, very happy about. I mean, this was mostly going to be on how not to have the child affected, but we've learned some pretty good things about certain elements of genius that can be given to a baby, and the baby can get better, and in some cases maybe substantially better. Not going to be easy, but be a lot easier if it didn't happen in the first place, as these great parents fully understand, right? They fully understand. I feel so terribly for. I have so many friends with autistic children. It's a tough situation. Finally, to help reach the ultimate goal of ending the autism fever, the NIH will be announcing 13 major grant awards from the Autism Data Science Initiatives. And to be honest with you, to me, that's the least important. It's not even a money thing at this point. There's so much money, but they have to do, and they have to move quickly. When the alternative is that nothing bad can happen, let's do it now. I was just saying to Bobby in the group, let's do it now. Nothing bad can happen. It can only good happen. But with Tylenol, don't take it. Don't take it. And if you can't live, if your fever is so bad, you have to take one, because there's no alternative to that. Sadly, first question, what can you take instead? It's actually, there's not an alternative to that. And as you know, other of the medicines are absolutely proven bad. I mean, they've been proven bad with the aspirins and the Advils and others, right? And they've been proven bad. So I'd like to ask Bobby to get up to the podium and say a few words, and then Dr. Bhattacharya and Dr. McCary, Dr. Oz, Dr. Fink, followed by two incredible mothers that have experienced firsthand what this country is going through, what parts of the world are going through. And I will say there are parts of the world that don't take Tylenol. I mean, there's a rumor, and I don't know if it's so or not, that Cuba, they don't have Tylenol because they don't have the money for Tylenol, and they have virtually no autism, okay? Tell me about that one. And there are other parts of the world where they don't have Tylenol, where they don't have autism. That tells you a lot. And I want to say it right now. And you know the way I look at it? Don't take it. Don't take it. There's no downside in not taking it. So I'd like to ask Bobby to come up and say a few words. I hope I didn't ruin his day, but that's the way I feel. I've been very strong on the subject for a long time. You know, life is common sense too. And there's a lot of common sense in this, and I wish things like this were brought up, and this group has worked so hard on it, but I'd like to be a little bit more, a little speedier in the process of a recommendation, because there's no harm in going quicker. There's absolutely no harm. At worst, there's no harm. Thank you very much. Bobby, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. To meet the President's challenge, I ordered HHS to launch an unprecedented all-agency effort to identify all causes of autism, including toxic and pharmaceutical exposures. At President Trump's urging, NIH, FDA, CDC, and CMS are turning over every stone to identify the etiology of the autism epidemic and how patients and parents can prevent and reverse this alarming trend. We have broken down the traditional silos that have long separated these agencies, and we have fast-tracked research and guidance. Historically, NIH has focused almost solely on politically safe and entirely fruitless research about the genetic drivers of autism. And that would be like studying the genetic drivers of lung cancer without looking at cigarettes. And that's what NIH has been doing for 20 years. As a result, we don't have an answer to this critical question, despite the cataclysmic impact of the epidemic on our nation's children. We are now replacing the institutional culture of politicized science and corruption with evidence-based medicine. NIH research teams are currently testing multiple hypotheses with no area off limits. We promise transparency as we uncover the potential causes and treatments, and we will notify the public regularly of our progress. Today, we are announcing two important findings from our autism work that are vital for parents to know as they make these decisions. First, HHS will act on acetaminophen. The FDA is responding to clinical and laboratory studies that suggest a potential association between acetaminophen use during pregnancy and adverse neurodevelopmental outcomes, including later diagnosis for ADHD and autism. Scientists have proposed biological mechanisms linking prenatal acetaminophen exposure to altered brain development. We have also evaluated the contrary studies that show no association. Today, the FDA will issue a physician's notice about the risk of acetaminophen during pregnancy and begin the process to initiate a safety label change. HHS will launch a nationwide public service campaign to inform families and protect public health. FDA also recognized that acetaminophen is often the only tool for fevers and pain in pregnancy, as other alternatives have well-documented adverse effects. HHS wants, therefore, to encourage clinicians to exercise their best judgment and the use of acetaminophen for fevers and pain in pregnancy by prescribing the lowest effective dose for the shortest necessary duration and only when treatment is required. Furthermore, thanks to the politicization of science, the safety of acetaminophen against the risk of neurodevelopmental disorders in young children has never been validated. Prudent medicine, therefore, suggests caution in acetaminophen use by young children, especially since strong evidence also has associated it with liver toxicity. Some studies have also found the use of acetaminophen in children can potentially prolong viral illnesses. FDA will drive new research to safeguard mothers, children, and families. In addition to a possible acetaminophen connection to autism for pregnant women, infants, and toddlers, our research has revealed that folate deficiency in a child's brain can lead to autism. We have also identified an exciting therapy that may benefit large numbers of children who suffer from autism. Peer-reviewed literature has documented that up to 60% of folate-deficient children with ASD can have improved verbal communications if given leucovorin. I have instructed NIH, FDA, and CMS to help doctors treat children appropriately. Jay will help tell that story, which started with sound science, the kind that restores faith in government. The announcement of this announcement also represents a historic collaboration between NIH, FDA, CDC, and CMS. We expect this to be the first of many announcements over the coming years that deliver actionable information to parents on underlying cause of autism and the potential paths for prevention and reversal. Finally, autism is a complex disorder with multifactorial etiology. We are continuing to investigate a multiplicity of potential causes with no areas of taboo. One area that we are closely examining, as the president mentioned, is vaccines. Some 40 to 70% of mothers who have children with autism believe that their child was injured by a vaccine. President Trump believes that we should be listening to these mothers instead of gaslighting and marginalizing them like prior administrations. Some of our friends like to say that we should believe all women. But some of these same people have been silencing and demonizing these mothers for 3 decades. Because research on the potential link between autism and vaccines has been actively suppressed in the past, it will take time for an honest look at this topic by scientists. But I want to reassure the people in the autism community that we will be uncompromising and relentless in our search for answers. We will perform the studies that should have been performed 25 years ago. Whatever the answer is, we will tell you what we find. We are researching this issue to all 3 agencies. Jay will discuss one of our research initiatives at NIH. This model of unleashing unbiased, depoliticized, gold standard scientific research and academic freedom to deliver actionable information to prevent and reverse disease will be a model for the framework to deliver similar results many other chronic conditions that plague Americans today.
Thank you, Secretary Kennedy, and thank you, President Trump.
Thank you very much.
I'm proud to announce today that the NIH has launched the Autism Data Science Initiative to turbocharge autism research, devoting an additional $50 million to the cause of studying autism. Nearly 250 research teams from across the country applied, sent in their applications, and were peer-reviewed by the NIH review panels. The NIH peer reviewers chose the 13 best projects focused on root causes and therapies, with replication and validation studies to guarantee gold standard science. The studies feature a new kind of science called exposomics, where scientists consider environmental and medical factors, nutrition, events during pregnancy, in combination with biology and genetics to answer vital questions about autism. Science like this, conducted in partnership with families and physicians, is the best way to arrest and reverse the autism epidemic. Autism spectrum disorder encompasses a very wide range of symptoms, ranging from mild difficulties with social interactions to profoundly autistic children who experience severe disabilities in speech and behavior. Given this wide range of symptoms across the spectrum, it seems certain that there will be a wide range of biological contributors to explaining the cause. The great thing about the new NIH initiative on autism is that scientists will use rigorous advanced methods in causal inference, machine learning, organoids, and other fresh approaches to the problem. The sharp rise in the prevalence of autism deserves an urgent response by the scientific community. As Bobby said, the NIH has invested a lot of money to study autism over the years, but the research has not produced the answers that families and parents of autistic children deserve, and autistic children themselves deserve. For too long, it's been taboo to ask some questions for fear that scientific work might reveal a politically incorrect answer. Because of this restricted focus in scientific investigations, the answers for families have been similarly restricted, often pointing families to behavioral therapies that don't work for every kid, or suggest non-modifiable genetic factors as the cause. But genetics alone can't explain such a sharp rise in autism prevalence over just a few decades, as the president said. In coming months and years, as NIH scientists learn more that can help autistic children and their families, we won't delay. Like scientists often like to do, I can say as a scientist myself, it's really tempting to delay, but but in the face of a problem like this, you have to move fast. But we will not delay before telling American people about what we find, and we will win the public trust with transparency and rigor. Already, our broadened focus on autism research has pointed to 2 items that will help families prevent and treat some cases of autism. I'll leave the good news on these 2 items to my close friends and colleagues, Dr. McCary and Dr. Ross. We've been working together closely on this problem for the past 6 months, and our cooperation represents an unprecedented collaboration with Secretary Kennedy's Department of Health and Human Services and with President Trump. I'm delighted to introduce Dr. Marty McCary, Commissioner of the Food and Drug Administration, who will tell you about these announcements of practical help for families with autism.
Great, thank you, Dr. Bhattacharya. Mr. President, this is the start of a historic shift in medical culture. This administration is working together to ask big questions about why our nation's children are getting sick so fast. Too often, medicine is doing small little studies, giving us answers we already knew. But we've got to make a difference. You've given us a charge to identify root causes, and we're not going to stop so that we can end the suffering we are watching. And if you've seen a kid with autism, with severe autism, it's hard to watch. Kids get frustrated, they get angry, they can be crying because they want to speak and they can't speak. It's hard to watch. And it may be entirely preventable. For an epidemiologist, that child is an expanding statistic. But for a child, it can be brutal to have autism. Today, the FDA is taking action to update the label on acetaminophen and sending a letter to all U.S. doctors letting them know about the risks in pregnancy. We now have data we cannot ignore. There's a very large study, the Boston Birth Cohort, with researchers that have, from Johns Hopkins, my former institution, and Boston University, found quote-unquote consistent associations between acetaminophen in pregnancy and autism. And the Nurses' Health Study with researchers from Yale, Columbia, and Harvard looking at 9,000 kids found that acetaminophen use in pregnancy was associated with neurodevelopmental disorders. And 4 weeks ago, a Mount Sinai Harvard study reviewed all the existing literature and found the overwhelming body of evidence points to an association. Sure, you'll be able to find a study to the contrary. That's how science works. But to quote the dean of the Harvard School of Public Health, there is a causal relationship between prenatal acetaminophen use and neurodevelopmental disorders of ADHD and autism spectrum disorder. We cannot wait any longer. And honestly, there's been this perfunctory, reactionary, mindless practice in medicine. I learned it in medical school and residency. Just treat all fevers, low-grade fevers, treat them with acetaminophen. Why? What are we doing? A study out of Hopkins actually showed that treating a fever can prolong the duration of illness in a young kid. Maybe that's because a fever is a body's natural way of ridding an infection. When my wife was pregnant and delivered our son a few months ago, they pushed her to take acetaminophen for a low-grade fever. She said no, and then they looked to me and I said, absolutely no. I'm also here to announce good news. Today, the FDA is filing a Federal Register notice to change the label on an exciting treatment called prescription leucovorin so that it can be available to children with autism. You know, autism may also be due to an autoimmune reaction to a folate receptor on the brain, not allowing that important vitamin to get into the brain cells. It's a fairly established, mature pathway. Again, we have a duty to let doctors and the public know we are going to change the label to make it available. Hundreds of thousands of kids, in my opinion, will benefit. One study found that with kids with autism and chronic folate deficiency, 2/3 of kids with autism symptoms had improvement, and some marked improvement. Mr. President, you told us to do what's medically right, to go bold, and not worry about the corporations and the lobbyists. So that's what we're here doing today. Thank you, Mr. President.
Good, thank you.
Thanks, Marty. I think you all appreciate the passion in the president's voice. We've been hearing that since the inauguration. In fact, even before the inauguration, the president was upset about what he spoke to today. And so together with Secretary Kennedy, who's made it his life's work to address some of these challenges with autism, they challenged us. In fact, they were harsher than that. They wanted no silos to break down what the NIH would do, what the FDA would do, what CMS would do. They insisted that the physician leaders bust through the clutter because their agencies had the power. If we didn't do what every other prior administration had done, which is to let people function within their siloed environments. Because of that, in historic fashion and a very accelerated manner, we have a response today to the autism crisis. It is the first of several chapters, but this is breaking news. You've heard some of it. The response to the autism crisis is going to continue to come to you under Secretary Kennedy's leadership, and the president wouldn't have it any other way. As you've heard, the FDA, based on NIH research, is approving prescription leucovorin for treatment of autistic children. Now, if you're following the script, there should be two questions that you have. Two questions that should come to your mind. The first is, how will patients and parents get access to the treatment? I'll tell you how. Over half of American children are covered by Medicaid and CHIP, government health insurance. Over half. And therefore, because they're covered in Medicaid and CHIP, upon this label change by Marty, state Medicaid programs in partnership with CMS will cover prescription leucovorin around the country. It's yours, but you have to go to a doctor to get a prescription because they know your child, they know you, and they know the medication. States will also have tools to monitor its use and ensure appropriate utilization. That's important for a bunch of reasons because we want the right kids getting the right prescription medications. We believe private insurance companies will rapidly follow our lead if they have not already done so. And again, to make sure that this is safe and effective treatment, you need a physician to prescribe the medication because it's on prescription. Second big question, how are we going to collect clinical data to answer the big questions that the president is asking and Secretary insists that we offer? CMS is also issuing guidance to convene states and existing research networks to support NIH and FDA in their research efforts of prescription leucovorin, while also maintaining the privacy of all patients, all health information of our beneficiaries. Collecting real-world data, which is what many of you have been asking us to do in the community, is fast, it is life-saving, and we'll get answers based on what happens over the next few months with this approach. The aggressive approach, and it is aggressive, demanded by the president and by the secretary, have already identified risk factors and opened the door for the first FDA-recognized treatment pathway for autism. It is the first of its kind, and it wouldn't have happened without the leadership of the president and the secretary. The fivefold increased prevalence of autism over the past 25 years demands a rapid response. The average clinician, researcher, we spoke to many, thought it would take 5 years to get this data. Parents are unwilling to wait 5 years. The president is unwilling to wait 5 years for these results. So the president and the secretary are acting today with this tri-agency move. The administration's bold actions investing in groundbreaking research follow the science, they restore trust, which has been lacking, and they will change the trajectory for millions of American families. Mr. President, God bless you for being brave. So let me introduce Dr. Fink, who's acting administrator, and after that, Dr. Fink, we've got some wonderful women, Jackie and Amanda. I know it's going to be tough, but if you can make some comments about this historic day, God bless you.
Thank you, Mr. President, for this opportunity to speak with all of you today. As a pediatrician and mom, I'm here today to talk about what this announcement means for the millions of moms and dads who are faced with the choice of whether to take acetaminophen during pregnancy. It's hard to hear information that challenges the status quo. We are sharing this information not to confuse, but to empower parents to make the best choices when taking medications during pregnancy. We are all concerned about the rising rates of neurodevelopmental disorders, including autism. President Trump and Secretary Kennedy are dedicated to radical transparency so that patients have the best, most up-to-date information. We are also sharing this information with our nation's doctors. And we encourage you, as always, to consult with your doctor to make the best decision for you. All too often, it's easy to think that medicines we buy without a prescription pose little to no risk for the mom or the baby. As you heard today, pregnant women who need high fever or pain reduction during pregnancy should take the lowest effective dose of acetaminophen for the shortest possible duration. Most women will not meet these indications during their pregnancies. I am encouraged by these developments today because it is another example of our commitment to the American people to leave no stone unturned in improving the health of our nation's children. Next, I'm going to turn it over to some incredible mothers who are going to share more about their stories, and we're so grateful to have you here today.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President and team, for all your work. This is an historic day, and I'm thankful to be here. I have a son who's 5, who is profoundly autistic, and you've probably heard if you've met one autistic child, you've met one autistic child. It's a spectrum, which I don't think the spectrum is helpful, but that's another conversation. He is an amazing little boy, a blessing from God. He's marvelous. He can count to 1,000. He knows all of his letters and the sounds they make and a word for each one. But he also has a lot of obstacles. He is nonverbal. He can say those numbers and letters, but there's no communication. Unless you've lived with profound autism, you have no idea. You have no idea. He, like you said, he will get frustrated because he can't speak. It's not even that he can't speak. Sometimes he just doesn't understand what I'm saying. He understands the word no, but he doesn't understand the why behind the no. And that's a huge part of discipline. That's the discipline. So it's very hard to discipline a child with autism, so you have these behaviors. And it's a very hopeless feeling. And it's very isolating being a parent with a profound autistic child. Even just taking them over to your friend's house is something we just don't do, because again, they're going to be met with no, 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 and no understanding of why, and then there's a meltdown, and then you're in a situation where you're just helpless and you're just trying to protect your kid. So it's just better not to do it. You learn your limits, and it's been really hard. This is amazing that we're here today, and no one has been able to point to anything to say this is what caused it. and you can't point to that and say it didn't cause it. I have no idea. I'm completely open, not blaming anything, but I'm open to the discussion and the fact that there's work being done to find answers. I'm very grateful. I was already excited to vote for Mr. Trump anyway, as president. But when we got word of RFK doing his work, I was ecstatic. I could not wait for this work to be done, that somebody would try to find us some answers. I'm just very grateful. I pray for my son every day and hope that he can get the help that he needs. And just thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi, my name's Jackie. I'm also extremely grateful for the opportunity to be here and share my son's story. My son is Eddie. He's 11. He's on the opposite end of the spectrum from what Amanda just explained. He's considered high functioning. He was not always high functioning. He was nonverbal till the age 4. We've had quite a hard time to get to the place where we are today. I am just so grateful to President Trump and the entire administration for finally listening to moms who have been crying out for help, for answers for years. I've met so many other moms with children on the spectrum in the 9 years since my son's diagnosis, and they all have very similar stories, and they've all just wanted somebody to listen, to not ridicule them or look at them like they were the crazy people. It's hard when you don't have doctors that take the time to really listen and find out when the change happened and what change happened, and it's just, I've been praying for this day for 9 years, and I'm so thankful to God for bringing the administration into our lives, and I'm speechless. This day is a day I never thought would happen. I thought that we would never have an administration that was courageous enough to look into things that no prior administration had. So I'm just here to express my gratitude, and I am looking forward to what comes from this, and hopefully we just get more answers. So thank you.
Thank you very much. So I just want to say acetaminophen is basically Tylenol, essentially, because I noticed that term is used throughout this conference. So it's essentially Tylenol. And I just recommend strongly that you don't use Tylenol unless it's absolutely necessary. I understand it's maybe 10% of the women that are pregnant are, would perhaps be forced to use it. And that would mean you just can't tough it out. No matter what you do, you can't tough it out. So that's up to you and your doctor. But there's a very strong recommendation, maybe stronger from me than from the group, because they're waiting for certain studies. I just want to say it like it is. Don't take Tylenol. Don't take it. If you just can't, it's fight like hell not to take it. There may be a point where you have to, and that you have to work out with yourself. So don't take Tylenol. Other things that we recommend, or certainly I do anyway, is, and it's so important to me to see the doctor 4 times or 5 times for a vaccine. Don't let them pump your baby up with the largest pile of stuff you've ever seen in your life going into the delicate little body of a baby. Even if it's 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, you just break it up into, I would say 5, but let's say 4 visits to the doctor instead of 1. And certain things I think you should do. We've already taken out and are in the process of taking out mercury and aluminum now. You know what mercury is, you know what aluminum is. Who the hell wants that pumped into a body? And there were rumors about both of them for a long time, but we're having them taken out. We're having them taken out of the vaccines. Hepatitis B, again, that's sexually transmitted, and we think you should wait. I think you should wait till 12. I'm just making these statements from me. I'm not making them from these doctors, because when they talk about different results, different studies, I talk about a lot of common sense, and they have that too. They have that too a lot. But I recommend the hepatitis B. Take it at 12. sexually transmitted. You don't have to give it to the baby when the baby's 2 years old, and there are a lot of theories on that, but not when they're 12. It's not, doesn't seem to be a problem at all. The MMR and the chickenpox. Chickenpox has already been broken out. It's a singular shot, but the MMR is not. And I've heard for years that there's a problem with it, but they say that there's no problem if you do each shot separately, not put together. So an MMR, go out and do it separately. Don't take Tylenol. Don't give Tylenol to the baby after the baby's born. Every time the baby gets a shot, the baby gets a shot. They say, here, take a cup of Tylenol. I've heard that for years. Take Tylenol. Don't take Tylenol. Don't have your baby take Tylenol. Now, Tylenol is fine for people that aren't pregnant, that aren't in a situation that we're talking about. One very specific situation. If you're pregnant, don't take Tylenol. When you have your baby, don't give your baby Tylenol at all, unless it's absolutely necessary. Don't do it. Break up your visits to the doctors. Break them up. Do it in 5 if you can. Now, it's inconvenient. It's inconvenient. Oh, you're going to have to go back another year later. You're going to go back each year for 4 years, 5 years, 3 years. Just break it up. Break it up. Because it's too much liquid. Too many different things are going into that baby at too big a number. The size of this thing, when you look at it, it's like 80 different vaccines and beyond vaccines, and 80. Then you give that to a little kid. I mean, I can tell you that I had a woman who worked for me, a beautiful, wonderful woman, worked in Trump Tower, and she had the most perfect child, beautiful, just perfect. And I remember this little blonde-haired boy running around the lobby of Trump Tower, so healthy and so vibrant. And I said, that's great. And one day I came in and she was crying her eyes out behind the counter. She worked at the front desk. She was crying her eyes out. I've never, as much as I've ever seen anyone distraught, she was. I said, are you okay? What happened? My boy, I've lost my boy. What does that mean, your boy? My boy, you know him, sir. You've seen him grow up. He was so beautiful. And I took him for a vaccine, sir. And he developed this unbelievable, I think she said 107, 108. You know, it goes well beyond when this happens. It goes up to 106, 107, 108. You know, we hear 105 and you're in trouble, but it just goes up to a level that you never hear about, but it goes up very high. And it's fried. They get fried. She said, I took him, he developed an unbelievable temperature. And I've lost him, sir, he's gone. And then I saw the boy, it was so tragic to see. That was the following day. That was the following day after the vaccine. And I've seen it 2 other times, and I think 3 other times, but 2 other times, where they go to the doctor and they get the vaccine, they get the shot, the kid is, badly hurt. Let's be nice, badly hurt. And just do it. Break it up into 5, break it up into 4, break it up into 3 if you have to, but go to the doctor 4 times instead of once, or 5 times instead of once. And for some reason, they insist that you put it all into the body, and maybe that's the drug companies that make more money that way. Maybe it's the doctors because they don't want to be, doing this so much. Maybe it's the doctors. They get maybe more money. Who the hell knows what it is? Don't do it. Get them broken into 4 or 5 visits. Do it 4 or 5. That means you have 20%, 25% what you're putting into the baby's body. It can only help. It can only help. And the other things I told you about, just the word tough it out. It's easy for me to say tough it out, but sometimes in life with a lot of other things you have to tough it out also. Don't take Tylenol. Don't give Tylenol to the baby. When the baby's born, they throw it at you. Here, give him a couple of Tylenol. They give him a shot. They give him a vaccine. And every time they give him a vaccine, they're throwing Tylenol. And some of these babies, they're long born and all of a sudden they're gone. And it doesn't hurt not to do it. It doesn't hurt. There's no downside. There's no downside at all. And break up MMR, break it up. It's practically a known fact that if you break it up, you're not going to have a problem. But for years we've been hearing how bad MMR is as a combination. And I'm very happy that you broke out chickenpox because that was really a problem. And there are other things. It's interesting because there are other things, we were talking about other different drugs, pills that you take that we know are so bad and they don't take them anymore. But for some reason with this, they keep taking it. Don't take Tylenol. There's no downside. Don't take it. You'll be uncomfortable. It won't be as easy, maybe, but don't take it. If you're pregnant, don't take Tylenol. And don't give it to the baby after the baby is born. And you know what? We have more than 3 years left. And I told Bobby and the doctors behind me, they are so committed to this. I told them that this is the number one thing I want to do from you. And you know, we have something else called favorizations where I'm going to be reducing drug prices by 1,000%, by 900, 600, 500, 1,200. We're going to be reducing drug prices at levels never seen. It's called favorizations. We're going to be paying what the right now, we're like the garbage can for the rest of the world, and we have been for forever. We pay much higher for drugs than the rest of the world. We subsidize the rest of the world. We're not doing that anymore. And that's a big thing. That's a big thing. That's bigger than anything. I told the story the other night that I was so proud in my first term that for the final year, drug prices went down 0.25%. And I was so proud. I said, why? I'm the first one to do it. I think it was 28 years, they said, where drug prices went down from the beginning of the term to the end. And I was so proud. I called a news conference. I said, you know, drug prices have gone down. First time it's happened in 28 years. You know what it was? 0.25%. I was so proud. Now we're going to have them go down from $100 a pill to $9 a pill. From $1,300 for a shot of like an Ozempic or the fat, I call it the fat pill or the fat drug. Sometimes it works, I guess, for people. The ones I've seen, it hasn't worked so well. I got a lot of friends that are fat. And they said, yeah, I lost some weight. I said, you don't look it to me. But they pay $1,300, $1,200, and they go to London and they pay $88. And they call me, they go, what's this all about? We're subsidizing the rest of the world stupidly because there are a lot of stupid people in this country running things. And how big is that? But to me, that's nothing compared to autism. I see that gorgeous boy. I have a big present for him in the back. You know, you bring him back. We're going to bring him into the Oval Office. I have the best present he's ever going to get, okay? A big one. I saved it for you, okay? Because I heard you were coming. Look how beautiful he is. So, that's it. There's nothing much to say. Don't take Tylenol if you're pregnant. And don't give Tylenol to your child when he's born or she's born. Don't give it. Just don't give it. And we're going to have, I think, really, if you do all the things that I say, break it up. Just break it up. Break up the shots with the doctor. MMRs, as I told you, separate, separate, separate. Chickenpox already separate. You do these things. I'm telling you, I want to, when I leave office, I don't want to have, it's going to be the kind of number that we're hearing where it's 1 in 32 or 1 in 10, because I've heard 1 in 10 also. And in California, it's really bad. I want it to be, let's get it back to maybe 1 in 10,000 or 1 in 20,000 or maybe none in 20,000. And the only way you're going to do that, because this is artificially induced. This is induced by something. You don't go from 1 in 20,000 to 1 in 10,000, then to 1 in 10. That means you're taking something and something's wrong. And I feel very certain, and I know I'll be criticized. Someday they'll look back and they'll say, well, it wasn't, but I think it will. I think we're going to have a tremendous, this is the most important. There's nothing more important than me. We cured inflation that Biden gave us. He gave us so much inflation, the biggest ever in history. We got inflation done, we brought prices down, we gave you the largest tax cuts, all of that stuff. It doesn't mean a thing compared to what we're doing today. This means everything. So we're gonna save a lot of children from a tough life, really tough life. We're gonna save a lot of parents from a tough life. Okay, how about a few questions? Let's just make another subject. This is so beyond as a subject that I'd rather not talk about, some nonsense on the economy. And I will say this, the economy is unbelievable. The stock market just hit another record high and all that stuff. This means more to me. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, I have one on your announcement, one on vaccines that's also really.
Yes.
Why do you think we haven't heard more previously about the tie to autism and acetaminophen?
Nobody knows. I don't know. Not only that, when you say it, you get attacked. I was saying something similar, not as strongly, because now facts are on our side. But I was saying it with Bobby 20 years ago, and I was attacked. I said, whoa, what was that all about? I had no idea. You get attacked. I don't know. The medical community, the drug companies, doctors, I don't know what it is. All I want to do, I don't care. I don't care about being attacked. It doesn't matter to me. I believe that the numbers at the end of our term or shortly thereafter could be really phenomenal. I want it to go up just like it came down to this horrible level. 1 in 10, 1 in 12. I was told 1 in 10. I was told 1 in 12. Today I heard 1 in 31 if you add the girls and the boys together. It's crazy. And it was 1 in 10,000 and 1 in 20,000. It's not even sustainable for a country, you want to know the truth. And there are other places that don't have it. And they have things in common. And that's called medical research. Yeah, please.
And I'm curious, as you look at the trend lines, how much of this is the causation of acetaminophen and how much is sort of better diagnosis, doctors, researchers having a better understanding of what is on the autism spectrum?
You want to do that? Sure, go ahead.
Yeah, and that's one of the canards that has been promoted by the industry for many years, that it's changed diagnostic criteria, better recognition. But there's been study after study done at that completely debunks that. One of them by the Mind Institute at UC Davis at University of California. But also it's just common sense. Because you're only seeing this in people who are under 50 years of age. If it were better recognition or diagnosis, you'd see it in 70-year-old men. I've never seen this happening in people my age. I've never seen a case of full-blown autism, and that means profound autism. I want to be very careful. Head-banging, stimming, toe-walking, non-verbal, non-toilet trained. I've never in my life seen a 70-year-old man who looks like that. You're only seeing it in the kids. It's an epidemic.
Mr. President, I was hoping that you could clear up confusion for moms and dads across America, many of whom voted for you. There's a statement that was put out by the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists, and in their statement, they write, acetaminophen remains a safe, trusted option for pain relief during pregnancy, and that's at odds with what you said and with what many of the experts say. How do you...
It's the establishment. That's the establishment. They're funded by lots of different groups. And you know what? Maybe they're right. I don't think they are, because I don't think the facts bear it out at all. They're fighting for something that, in my opinion, they shouldn't be fighting for. But here's the thing. There's no downside to doing, other than a mother will have to, as I say, tough it out a little bit. There's no downside to doing this. It's not like, oh, if you do this, you're going to die. There's no downside. There's no downside to going over a 4-year or a 5-year period or a 3-year period, or even if you space them out for 6 months, you space it out. There's no downside. And that's why I will say the gentleman behind me, they have very strong views and they feel that we're right, but they'll have more research done over the next 2 months. I said, well, 2 months is a long time. A lot of people can be saved, and there's no downside to doing it. Everything I said, there's no downside to doing it. It can only be good. And I think you're going to see very good results. That's establishment stuff. And we've been reading that about a lot of things for years. And you know what's happened? We've gone from 1 in 20,000 to 1 in 10,000 to 1 in 32 to 1 in 10. Think of it. 1 in 10 or 12 or 1 in 31. Think of it. 1 in 31 people, young kids, get autism? What is it, Jeff?
My question is about Leucovorin. You mentioned that as part of your plan. That is also a chemotherapy treatment. Have you been in touch with the drug companies to
Why don't
increase
I have the
production
doctor
about
answer
that?
that?
And just, I'm going to throw in my follow-up at the same time. Dr. Oz mentioned that this will be available with CHIP, children who are on CHIP. But the big beautiful bill reduced funding for CHIP and Medicaid by $1 trillion over the next 10 years. Are you concerned that that will impact your ability to get this drug
I'll
out?
explain it to you in a second, but please go ahead.
Thank you. Leucovorin is not a chemotherapy, but it is a vitamin given with chemotherapy sometimes. And the idea here is that the folic acid receptor in the brain is blocked by some antibody response. Might be 20, 40, 50% of kids with autism. And leucovorin will bypass that blocked receptor. And that's why so many doctors are probably seeing so much clinical improvement on kids with leucovorin.
So are you going to increase production?
Yeah, we've been in touch with the companies and they are prepared to ramp up production. We actually talked to them about a month ago.
And on your second part of your nasty question, the number is that the great big beautiful bill, which is the greatest, I think that one of the best things ever passed in the history with the tax cuts and regulation cuts and all of the things it does, no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime, all of it does. It also gives $200 million, as just explained by Dr. Oz, and I'd like you to explain that to exactly what you're saying.
The Big Beautiful Bill actually increases Medicaid spending projected over the next 10 years by $200 billion. There's also a $50 billion Rural Health Transformation Fund, which will allow a lot of these programs to get in the rural parts of the country that the President and Congress are handing to governors to start distributing. Those grants have already gone out. The money will be allocated by the end of this calendar year. And I want to point out that the ability of NIH to do research that feeds and hands the ball to the FDA, which they can change labeling to allow Medicaid programs in states to fund this program, will ensure that the things that President Trump and Secretary Kennedy desire are financially affordable for the families around America.
You mentioned CHIP, that's why I asked that question. You mentioned that CHIP was on this.
Well, most of the kids are on Medicaid, probably 43% on Medicaid, another 8-10% on CHIP, and all the programs in general are being evaluated. Most of what the One Big Beautiful Bill was seeking to do was to remove fraud, waste, and abuse. But the programs themselves should stay financially intact for the people for whom they were designed, and in this case, for children.
And the only thing we cut, so that's 200 billion positive. The only thing we cut was for fraud, waste, and abuse, of which there was a lot in this country, and nobody minds that. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, you said that there are no reason to give newborn babies hepatitis B vaccines, but hepatitis B can be contracted not just through sexually transmitted diseases, it can be needles, open wounds. So when you say you feel, is that appropriate to just telling?
I think it's absolutely appropriate. I think they should wait till they're 12 years old. Yes, please.
You've been talking about reducing autism by spacing out vaccines. Would you like other combined vaccines babies receive to be spaced out like MMR?
What is this again?
You've been talking.
Speak up, please.
You've been talking about reducing autism by spacing out vaccines.
Right, correct.
Would you like the other combined vaccines babies receive to be spaced out like MMR?
I would say yes, but that just is, for me, it's a lot of common sense involved in this. It's a process, but we're looking, but it should at least be given separately. Now, it's possible that you can reduce them and I'd give them in small doses, but it's possible maybe in that particular case, the MMR wouldn't work in small doses, but you can certainly give them as separate shots. It's been proven to be very safe when you give them in separate shots instead of mixing. So I don't think there's any reason to do that. Do you agree with it? I'm not a doctor, but I'm giving my opinion. I don't think there's any reason to do that. So it's been proven to be safe when you break them up. But MMR by itself, I've heard bad things about it for many years. Yes, please.
Is the spectrum too broad, in your opinion? For research purposes, you are dealing with a population of children who might have social boundary difficulties, and then you have children who are, going to grow up to be adults.
We don't know how broad the spectrum is. We don't know exactly where it starts and where it ends, but we do know what we're going through. We're going through some very serious trouble, and we know autism. I mean, it could be bigger, it could be small, a little bit smaller, but the number is unacceptable. And the number, the way it's come down, because the spectrums remain the same, the number, the way it's come down is just unacceptable. Meaning come down to that level of 1 in 10, 1 in 12, 1 in 31. Go ahead in the back.
This question is more directed towards Secretary Kennedy. He's talked about that we're just kind of finding out about the fact that babies are affected this way. Is there a concern that information is being suppressed right now within HHS, and could an investigation perhaps be launched?
Well, I think information has been really not given out very freely over the years, absolutely. And I think that's by drug companies and maybe doctors, but I certainly think that over the years. I think this is a different group. We have a lot of information. And that information, I mean, it's the information that we have that we're making these statements. And I'm making them out front, and I'm making them loud, and I'm making them strongly not to take Tylenol, not to take it. Just don't take it unless it's absolutely necessary, and there's not too many cases where that will be the case. And again, what's the worst? The worst is nothing can happen. It's very positive. That's a positive thing. But I don't believe I don't actually believe that's possible. I think the results are going to be amazing. I want to see amazing results by the time I leave this beautiful building. And I will consider this, I believe, with the wars, I've stopped 7 different wars. I've saved millions of lives. I've done a lot of things. This will be as important as any single thing I've done, because I know ladies, beautiful ladies just like this, that are going through the same thing. And it's not easy, and I admire you for being able to do it. But I admire him too. I wish I had a face that looked like that. If I looked like him, I would have been president a long time ago.
Is widely used in other countries too. As you make this announcement, do you expect your decision may affect?
I hope they follow it, yeah. I hope they follow it. Yeah, other countries are, sell Tylenol. Some countries don't. I mean, I hear Cuba, now, again, you'll have to check this out, but I hear Cuba doesn't have it because it's very expensive. And they don't have the money to have it, or they don't want to spend the money to have it. They don't have Tylenol. And I hear they have essentially no autism. So you have to check it out. Yeah, Brian, please.
Medical professionals have roles.
No, I said, no, not you. You're CNN, you fake news. Go ahead, Brian.
I want to go back to the Amish community, if I can just for a second. I recently saw a man from Minnesota, an Amish man from Minnesota, on a podcast, and the host asked him what the rates were for like ADHD and autism, and he had no idea about ADHD, didn't know it existed, and certainly didn't know of any cases.
It doesn't exist with the Amish community, and they don't take all of this junk. It doesn't exist. That tells you, doesn't that tell you? That's like certain countries where it doesn't exist and they don't take it. Would you like to make a comment about that one?
The Amish population is a very mixed group, so there's a subset that take vaccines, a subset that does not, and we know they have very low rates of chronic disease all across the board.
Please.
President, should the establishment media show at least some openness to, trying to figure out what the causes of autism
I wish they would, yeah.
Why are they so closed-minded?
Well, look, it's not only the media, in all fairness, it's some people. When you talk about vaccines, they go crazy. And I'm a big supporter of vaccines. I got a certain vaccine approved in 9 months. I would have taken from 5 to 12 years. I'm very proud of it. A lot of people think it was one of the greatest things I've done, and some people think, most of the Republicans actually, I'll tell you, the Democrats think they think Operation Warp Speed was one of the greatest things any president has done, any president. It's, we're very proud of what happened. We got hit with something that came from a place it shouldn't have happened, but it did happen. Those things take place, and you're very unpleasantly surprised. But no, I'm a big believer in vaccines. Polio vaccine, big believer in vaccines. I know Bobby and you guys have it out a little bit, but he's a believer in vaccines too. But I've seen how great vaccines can be, how incredible they can be. So I'm a believer. Yeah. Yeah, please.
Your comments made about MMR and hepatitis B, and you said those were your suggestions. But have you spoken with Secretary Kennedy about actually making those changes?
I have, yeah, I have. I've spoken to all the doctors about it, and doctors that are not here right now. I've spoken to many doctors about everything we're talking about. And you know, the Tylenol has started to be spoken of over the last period of time, but we've been doing the research. A lot of what they've been speaking about comes from right here, by research done by these people. And I just say it again, don't take Tylenol. Don't take it. And don't give it to your child after your child is born. And do all those other things, little things, to spread out your visits, etc., on the vaccine. And I want to thank everybody. This is a very important day. Thank you very much.
Wow, this is so amazing. What I'm amazed about is that there are not more people interested in what the president had to say about autism and the effects of giving your children Tylenol and the effects it can have for the future of your child. That like the people aren't really interested in. And he's saying that there's one in every 10 to 12 boys that are being born with autism, and one in every 20 girls. That's crazy. Because just 10 years ago, I think he said it was like one in every 20,000 that might have symptoms or traits of autism. So for people not to be interested in something like this, and you know, we were made to believe how safe Tylenol is to give to your child. When my children were babies, like you take your child when they're born, well, even if, like, say when you're pregnant, if you get a fever, come down with some cold, you know, you always been told that the safest thing you could take is Tylenol. Tylenol has always been the go-to for pregnant women and for most people. But then when your child is born, you take them to the doctor. As soon as you take them to the doctor to get their first shots, they give them like 3 shots at one time. The baby is just screaming all over the place. But some of the shots being given, multiple shots, cause the children to maybe get a fever or they have a reaction to the shots. So because the doctor or the nurses, they saying, okay, if they get a fever, whatever, just give them Tylenol. If you're at home, you call the doctor. Oh, my child is running a fever. They're congested. You give them all the symptoms. Give them Tylenol. So it kind of makes sense that that's probably the most common thing that we're all as parents we're giving our children. But why is it affecting the kids more now than when my kids were babies? So it's like, it's just amazing within, like, why did it increase in like 20 years that it increased to the numbers? So what else is it? Is it a combination of Tylenol and what's being put in our foods? Because now we have so much junk and chemicals, even concrete. They put everything in our food sources now, what they're feeding the animals. Like, I buy everything grass fed. I buy everything organic. That's how I eat. I don't like even going out to eat at different restaurants because you don't know what they're putting in your foods. They're putting all kinds of, salts and additives and everything. I like to, buy my food and cook it myself. But I wasn't always like this because I was queen of going out to eat because, like, I'm used to people taking me out to fabulous dinners. I mean, I'm not talking about, I'm talking about you're going to drop $300 for my dinner or lunch. So, but I love going out, but I don't do that now. Now, like, look, I'm going to go to, I'd rather go to my kitchen and cook my own food. But it has to be a combination of something else because it's terrible to have a child that's nonverbal, can't speak, they're all over the place, they can't talk, they're erratic, that's hard for a parent. So it has to be a combination. But now, Tylenol probably gonna sue everyone right now because not just people that have babies, but everybody gonna stop taking Tylenol. They're like, oh, that's what's wrong with me. It's the Tylenol. So, but it's more serious than that. I'm trying to make light of it, but I'm surprised that it affects so many families. And if you have, say, like if you have a child, like say my daughter, like when she has a child or whatever, it become a family problem. Say if one of your family members or one of my cousin's children or somebody has a child like that, it affects the entire family. So I'm just surprised that people aren't more engaged with this topic. I have more people more engaged about something that really doesn't matter, but this is big, and I thank God we don't have it in our family. But I'm most definitely gonna be telling my people, anybody that's pregnant, don't take Tylenol. Don't give it to the babies. Just try to keep them as healthy as possible. And they said that like say Robitussin, or they have the other even NyQuil, they might even have something for babies now. Like they have already proven that all the other medications are worse than Tylenol. So what are you going to do? What are you going to do? I mean, we got all these children that are, coming, being born. I don't know if they're born like that. It's from taking Tylenol. Imagine having a healthy baby and unknowingly what you're giving your child is causing a lifelong, for lack of a better word, illness. A lifelong condition. That's a lifelong condition that you might not ever be able to take care of yourself, articulate, or do many things that normal kids can do or adults.
Yeah.
That's a lifetime condition.
Yeah, to the people in the chat, like everyone's saying, like we're spreading false information.
I'm not spreading anything.
Just look it up.
No, we're reacting to what the president just has spoken about. Yeah. That's what we're reacting. We are not doctors. We are not doctors. This is a reaction that what he just announced. People are going to react to this information because people are going to be more they're going to be more reserved as far as giving their kids Tylenol. Yeah, I know if I had a baby and I just heard that, the last thing that I'm going to do, and I'm telling you, I'm not giving my baby Tylenol.
Yeah, and there's
not doing it.
There's something going on, like how he said it went from like 1 in 100. It
went from 1 in 20,000 to 1 in 10. That means you have a class of kids. 2 of the kids, if you have a class of 40, they have autism.
Yeah, there's something going on here.
Something is going on. Whether it's the Tylenol, I'm quite sure that since he put this out there, he said that he's putting it out. He don't care. He care about the kids. He just going to say it, that they have more information than we have, so they're going to have to put it out. Tylenol's their company, they're going to be totally upset because that's money that they're going to be losing. But if I was a parent and if I was pregnant, I wouldn't be taking Tylenol because I'll be scared I would be endangering my child and being born with autism. And who wants a healthy baby that should be born healthy? I wouldn't risk it because I have a cold or I got a sore throat. I'm just going to have to man it out. I'm not taking Tylenol. I'm just like, unless you really have to, like you got a temperature that's 105, you have to take it. It has to be a matter of life and death. But as far as a baby, what?
Read this real fast.
No, I'm not going to get up.
You want me to read it out loud?
Go ahead.
They said, all right, I tried. At this point, you just need to take logic and critical thinking class and see a certified doctor.
I think we're gonna pull comments. Call that "Speak the Truth" comedy hour. But that's why I said that. We just laugh at some of the comments. I mean, I do want to be pulling comments because people be funny as crap. I'm telling you, people be funny. But that was funny. Thank you for the laugh. But anyway, this is not our opinion. This is not we did not have a broadcast from the White House, and this is what we said. This is what the President of the United States and Dr. Oz and Secretary Kennedy and the doctors, this is what they have spoken about. But if what they are saying, if there's any truth to it, because I can't verify any of it, But if there's any truth or I mean to it, then I think people need to take caution. If I have a baby and the doctor, first of all, they can spread the shots out because if you have an infant, you take your baby to the doctor, they're going to give them like 3 shots at one time or 2 shots at one time. The babies get so many needles in their first year of life that it's hard to just like oh my God, they just stick them all. It's even hard to go through when they stick in your baby like that. But then the baby can develop fevers. They can have reaction to the medications because they're getting all this all at once. So maybe they need to spread it out so the baby body can handle this foreign whatever medicine that they're putting inside of their system. Let the baby's body beta take. But when you got all these different medications that you're trying to prevent diseases or whatever, but you're giving them all these different medications, let the baby body be able to absorb and naturally fight what it needs to fight without giving them maybe the Tylenol. But I wouldn't risk it with my children. Thank God they all came out healthy because I did give them Tylenol if they needed it.
You did?
Yeah, that's what's wrong. Huh?
To the people in the comments, if you don't believe it's Tylenol, what do you think it is? Because you keep saying that this is misinformation. What do you think it is? Because look at how autism significantly increased. It has to be something going on here. And Tylenol is something that people give their babies and take when they're pregnant.
And that's something I guess they figured that everyone has in common. When they did the studies, then they look at the groups they was talking about, the Amish. The Amish is natural. They none of them have autism or any of these other illnesses. They're compared. Other countries don't even allow Tylenol. They don't have autism like they do in the United States. So what is it? At least somebody's trying to do something. So there's something that's going on that the numbers have increased to 1 in every 10. There's something going on. And they believe that this is one of the reasons why so many kids are coming, I don't even know if they're being born like that because the mothers were taking Tylenol while they were pregnant, but they're saying even after the child is born that they're being given Tylenol. And these are the studies that they're doing. So I guess more information will be coming out. So if you are pregnant or if you are expecting or someone in your family is expecting, this is stuff that you need to run past them. Just let them do their research. We can find out things. They got John Hopkins, you got ChatGPT, you got Google. You could do all your research in regards to your body, your family, and find out the information for yourself. Find it out for yourself. And I expect they should have Washington.gov somewhere, I'm quite sure on the website for, the White House website should have something in regards to what they talked about today that people can find out. But I think that this is something that you need to pass on to your other loved ones.
Didn't they say that the Amish don't do this?
What? They don't have autism.
Said we use ChatGPT to come up with that.
We didn't use anything. This is not out. We didn't bring the broadcast. It was the president of the United States. Come on now. Are you really here? Are you? I mean, you got to question people's ability to comprehend. We are reacting to what the president just said on the live from the White House. We are just having conversation and discussions. We're not medical doctors. We're just talking about it. That's it.
Well, James, that's the great thing that RFK is doing. He's trying to help clean up the food supply that we're all eating and children are eating.
It's things in our foods. Other countries they don't allow the dyes and the impurities and the things that they allow in our foods here in America. That's why this country have more illnesses than the rest of the world. We have more of everything than everyone else because what's allowed in our foods. And it's all for money at the expense of our health. So we need to be looking into these things. This is not something negative. This is not meant to be a negative, but I think that people need to be cautious. And the people who haven't heard or are unaware of it, because everyone doesn't keep up with what's going on. If you have seen it, this is something that you can pass. You can have them look at our live and show them what President Trump had said about, connecting Tylenol and autism in American children. You can go and find out the information for yourself. But this is something that you need to look into, especially if it's going to affect one of your family members or if it's going to affect you. I mean, you like when you tell people, look into it. That's all.
It's like people are angry Trump is trying to stop autism.
If you don't care, then pop the Tylenol. If you don't want to believe, because some people like to find out things the hard way. We don't want at the children's expense. That that you're gonna give them Tylenol anyways. That nothing's gonna happen to them. Then they got autism. You're like, I should have listened. Don't do it at the child's expense. But I think it's something that should be considered, something that should be looked into. And if it was me and I was pregnant and I heard this news, there's no way under God's green earth that I would be taking Tylenol during my pregnancy after what he just said. Whether it's true or not, it's enough for me to be cautious about it. Or at least, at the very least, I would find out more information in regards to confirm what he said. And I most definitely wouldn't allow doctors to be giving my baby, my infant, my newborn Tylenol that's born healthy, and then to come to find out, they always find out when the child is 1 and 2, they're not developing properly. Then they say, they should be sitting up by now, or they should be walking by now. They're not moving along like they're supposed to. Don't find out the hard way.
Jack, you are completely contradicting yourself, buddy. That's a complete contradiction of what you just said.
Yeah, you don't want to find out the hard way at someone else's expense to prove it to you. I think it's something that you should be cautious about, something that you should look into for yourself, something that you're being made aware of it, that they're saying that there's a connection. Or you could watch it over again, listen to the doctors. They had doctors, they had mothers that had kids that have autism. They had, the medical people from Johns Hopkins and different places and what they had to say. And those are renowned medical, facilities. But everybody knows about Johns Hopkins. So that's something that you need to look into. But as for me and my house, we most definitely not going to be popping Tylenol.
You should have had,
giving it to any babies that's born in our house. We're going to do all we can to keep that child healthy. Only at the matter of that you have to, and just the smallest amount for the least amount of time. That's what I would do.
Do you think he should have had
what?
I don't know if this is this should be his field because he's a brain doctor. Do you think he should have had Dr. Ben Carson there?
I don't know. The neurologist, how it affects the brain. Yeah, it might have been good to have Ben Carson. Yeah, I think that he probably was the most qualified to be at the freaking press conference. Yeah. He's like the best neural brain doctor in the freaking world. He would have been the one, I think, that would have been probably, giving us more information about, the effects that it has on the brain. So anyway, you guys, that's all we got for you. You're at Jump Off. Thank you for joining us. Pass the message around and look at the previous video with, we're going to have to edit that other one. Yeah. Look at the previous video with the Press Secretary, Caroline Leavitt. We had great content on it. Our videos are the best when you hear the reactions because we're authentic, we're real. And I think that it makes a difference when people don't use scripts, teleprompters, and everything. We're not talking from written notes and cue cards. So anyway, you guys, thanks for joining us. Don't forget to hit the like, share, and subscribe. Think about becoming a special friend of Speak the Truth 2.0. We are going to have Birch Gold on here. Mr. Peter's going to come on and talk to my subscribers and viewers about investing in gold and silver. That's what I'm doing myself. I have all these other investments, but gold and silver, because the dollar is value has declined. Most of the other countries like Russia and everywhere, they're buying gold because they're deflating the value of the dollar. So it might be a good time to invest in gold. That's a safe and solid investment. And other than stock, people invest in stock markets and all of that, which I do that as well. But investing goal is I think that's something that we all should be doing. So instead of just doing it myself, I want to share it with the subscribers, the viewers, and something that you might be interested in, or maybe not. But I'm gonna make that information available to you guys so we can grow together. So anyway, you guys, you want to say bye?
Yeah.
Okay. Say something. They said they want to hear you speak.
I'm just walking around. All right, guys. We'll see you on the next live. Need like an outro.
Yeah, we gotta get an intro and outro video. But thanks, guys, for joining us. And look for our live tomorrow. We will be on tomorrow, and hit the notification so you know when we will come on live. And soon and shortly, as soon as we get this together, we want to be bringing you guys on so we can have conversations with people who aren't emotional, can speak in a clear, concise manner, and we can just communicate with one another. But
well,
go ahead.
Because someone, a couple people are asking us like, what about genetics? But what we're saying like about the dramatic increase of autism, how it was like one in
every 20,000.
Yeah.
Now is one in every 10 children.
Yeah. That's what we're like focused on. That's like what's going on here.
That should get everyone's attention.
Yeah.
That seems like a state of emergency. That should get everyone's attention.
Yeah.
That when they're being born in these hospitals, that these kids are being born, one in every 10 babies being born is having autism or developing autism during their early stages of life. So that's concerning.
Yeah.
So I think that it won't hurt to look into it if they feel as though the Tylenol is linked up to it. I think that's enough for you to be cautionary, to look more into it, especially if you're having a baby, if you know some of your family members having a baby, that this is information that people might not have even seen alive and don't know what's going on, that might be taking the Tylenol. And you don't want to find out the hard way, because obviously people is happening at 1 in every 10. You don't want to be one of the 1 in every 10. So if I could avoid it, I mean, that's common sense. That's what I would personally do. But to each his own. Some people like to learn things the hard way, and then that's when they believe. Just like in Jesus, they ain't gonna believe Jesus is the Lord of Lords and King of Kings until he comes back, and then it's gonna be too late. So that's how people are.
Unfortunately,
They gotta believe it. They gotta see it to believe it.
Yeah, but sadly, it's at the children's expense.
Yeah, it is. That's how it always is. It really matters who your parent is.
Yeah.
It really matters who your parents are. And so unfortunately, some people wind up with parents that don't have common sense, and they like learning things the hard way at their children's expense. Anyway, you guys, we're going to get off of here. You can re-watch it and hear exactly what the president has said, and look at our previous video. I really love the content on it, and comment, leave us some comments. We can't react to everyone's comments unless you super chat us or you leave a comment after the live video. So anyway, you guys be blessed, stay safe, and peace out.